Something a bit different to look at today. I'm going to be changing the light seals on this Minolta film camera. This is a model from the 1970s and the original seals are still on this, or what's left of them. Just a quick guide to show you some of the better techniques that I found for cleaning off old light seals and replacing them. Your first step is of course going to be removing the old seals, and you really do have to do this properly, otherwise the new seals won't stay in place. I found using the wooden toothpicks to be quite an effective way of cleaning those off. And also a pick or a plectrum, that can be quite handy as well. Use a cotton bud and flatten the end of that so you can clean inside there, or thick tissue paper so you can apply some fluids to clean off the adhesive. I bought a set off of US camera. They're pre-cut, but you can of course buy the larger patches and cut them yourself. They also do guides on where the seals are, so you can actually see that on their website, so do research that for your particular model. With the Hymatic F, we need to clean off the top and the bottom. I find that the wooden toothpick works really well for that. What you don't want to use is anything that's metal, things like a screwdriver, because that could damage the camera. And obviously we don't want to do that because that could cause light leak problems on its own. Here's a close-up shot. You can see just how bad they are. They've turned into a sort of gooey, flaky mess. These are the original seals on the camera, and that's why it's a bit more tricky to remove them. For cleaning off the residue, I find that methylated spirits works best. You can try other substances such as white spirit. Some people use alcohol. Whatever you use, do have a quick test on some parts of the camera just to make sure it doesn't cause any problems. I've never encountered an issue with methylated spirit, and it's a natural degreaser as well. With something like this that hasn't had a light seal change for a long time and it is quite difficult to remove the seals, I recommend that you just soak it for a while, possibly an hour or two, and then come back to it a bit later on because it does seem to soak in and help break down that adhesive. Don't be in a rush with this job because we do want to get a good seating with those new seals. So it's important that you do thoroughly clean it off and make sure you get all of these small particles out there as well. So I've brushed that off. Can be a bit fiddly to apply these seals, so I make sure that I do wash my hands just in case there is any contact there. And I try and use things like the toothpick just to get it into the slot. Then you can start to peel back the rest of the backing. If you make a mistake with the placement on the seals, you can just pull them off reasonably easy. Once you've pushed them down, it is much harder to remove them. I will say that an area like the hinge is probably the most important part. This camera hasn't actually been leaking light, even though the seals are in very poor condition. Once you've got it into place, push down and you can also use that pick. For the larger sections, I found that I usually just hand hold those. Again, I do wash my hands to make sure there's no grease on there, and then just push them into place. And this is where I find that using the plectrum is quite handy. Again, I will stress, do take your time on this. If you make any big mistakes, then you can of course pull it out and start again. You'll find over a bit of time, days, possibly weeks, that the seals will start to bed in fully. Just close off the back just to make sure you've got a good fit there and nothing is sticking. If you want to, you can go over them again just to make sure everything is fully in position. This camera is now back in action. It was out of service for quite a long time, although interestingly, as I said earlier, I didn't have any light leaks on it. This is a rangefinder style camera from Minolta, and it's quite a good lens on that as well. Haven't done any film photography for a while, so I'm looking forward to taking some exposures with this camera. Got quite a few items coming in on the photo side of things, so do stick around, and I hope that quick guide was useful for you. Appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.